50-50. I know that's not a good answer.
All right.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Then I would have to.
And if I didn't know the guy, I'd probably try to wrangle up a few other guys, kill him, sneak it in the water, and then threaten her and say, if you ever do this again, we're going to cut your head off like ISIS. That probably wouldn't work. Anyway.
Well, there you go.
What an end.
Happy episode 71. You're listening to the Pine Room Podcast, the home of sports, gambling, entertainment, and whatever the hell else has gone on this week. So pull up a seat by the fire, crack open a cold one, and make sure to get your bets in. Welcome to the Pine Room. This episode is sponsored by our good friends at IC Cab. Whether you're in the Ohio Valley, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Columbus, Morgantown, or Charleston, you've seen the cars around. IC Cab provides a simple transportation service for all your transportation needs, be it a ride to the Pittsburgh airport, because we all know it's cheaper than parking, corporate transportation, courier services, or just a ride home from the local bar. IC Cab is your way to roll. To book your next ride, call 304-232-1313 or schedule a future ride at iccab.com/contact. Then all you got to do is fill out some info and boom, you got a ride coming your way. Oh, all right, that's me. Give them a call. Tell them the Pine Room sent you. All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Pine Room Podcast, episode 71. I'm back from a brief hiatus. I was ill last week. I fell ill to some unknown disease, the plague, something,
In the middle of
leprosy.
summer.
Good to see you convalesce and you're back with us.
I've never...
Spell that one.
Convalesce?
Yeah.
C-O... I can spell coalesce if it's convalesce. C-O-N-V-A-L-E-S-C-E. Convalesce.
I don't know.
Ding.
Look it up, folks.
How do you
Tell them
spell
why we're doing
Yeah,
this.
hold on. Like CONVOLCE.
C-E?
I don't know if I'm right, though.
CONVALESCE.
Wow.
Boom. I thought Siri
Is that
was
what you
gonna
said?
spell it
Yeah.
for me.
Were you always
Did
a
you
good
just say that?
speller?
I think
That's
so. I
impressive,
really
Jobber.
like English. English is my best.
I love English,
Yeah.
but to me, like English and spelling are two different
I
things.
I would agree
I
with
like
that.
writing a lot too.
Me too. I love to write, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to spell the words. Like I can put them together. I can say them. I
Yeah.
can put them on paper, but I got to spell check it. That's for sure.
Well, it's kind of personal. So what do you guys write about, just out of curiosity? Is it just thoughts?
I've always loved creative
for me,
writing.
it's just creation.
Creative writing?
I
yeah.
love writing stories and doing all kinds of stuff. Like we played games, and I like writing stories for just different kinds of
It's
stuff.
actually really impressive.
That's actually super cool. But you know the most, actually, I don't even want to say most. I'm going to go above most. Mostly all successful people, multimillionaires, are writers, not creative writers, but writing down what they're doing for the day, or if they have something next to their, like they put notepads next to their bed in case if they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, they have a thought, they write it down. So
I was a huge write stuff down. Like when I was in school, write stuff on a whiteboard, so I don't miss like assignment or a meeting or something.
I get that.
That was a big thing for me.
I'm a task-oriented kind of cat, so the fact of the matter, that helps me. I'm a sticky note dude, so like I have 2 different computers in my office. I have a laptop, and then I have a freestanding, and my freestanding screen truly acts as the sticky note thing, and it is so task-oriented. It's the fucking greatest thing in the world when I can take one of those sticky notes and fucking throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
It feels great.
It's like a cork board, like a My dad always
Very
says-
expensive one, but that's cool.
Yeah. My dad always says that his favorite thing to do is like he'll write lists down for stuff that he has to do, and then his favorite thing is to check things off the list.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I like writing in words. I enjoy words.
That's actually that made, now that Tyler said, not that I would ever question that, because I guarantee both your shit's just probably fucking goofy good, but I would like to just kind of see why. But here's the deal: I would say that you guys are probably completely opposite ends of the spectrum what you're creatively writing about, even though you guys have a lot of the same likes. I would imagine no.
Oh, Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know. No, I don't think, because I think I'd be on the same wavelength as him. Like, he and I have a lot of likes.
Yeah,
similar
that's what I'm
things.
saying.
I know you
Pretty
wouldn't think it because the sports and the
No,
yeah,
but I
he
do
hates
actually
it.
believe that because you
But
guys like even your new show
All
and
of
stuff
our
like that.
stuff that we have, we have a lot of like
Yeah.
brain melting type stuff. But I think you probably read like when I did those golf write ups and just some little like that.
Phenomenal
Like this,
stuff.
I like that kind of stuff. Just
Yeah.
telling a story about friends and people and just it's
Yeah,
fun.
your golf
You
shit,
gotta
man,
have some
was
funniness
fucking
to it.
great. Great.
Yeah,
When you guys read those on the, I didn't even, I write it. It's like, okay, it's okay. And then you guys actually, the way you read them in the previews when you videoed it is actually really good. It worked out really good.
That
Like
was
the way
really
you
fun.
presented
It
the
was.
stuff that I
Yeah,
wrote.
Say was. Oh, I'm trying to remember who some of the
Harold
comparisons-
Varner, I
Yeah, that's exactly.
Harold Varner and Jub was shit.
Who was? You were a left-handed guy, so Phil
Was it
Mickelson
Mickelson?
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Mickelson,
I
I
was
think,
Phil
yeah.
Mickelson. Yeah, we came in last.
That'll be
again.
coming up soon. I gotta get
Yeah.
ready for that.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That is
We're-
great.
We got some good. We got some stuff
We
cooking.
got
for
a lot
that.
of shit going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Bring
Actually,
everybody
Champ
up to
hit me up.
speed?
Champ hit me up on Saturday night about that.
All about the
Did he?
golf.
He did. He goes, "You excited for the golf outing?" I'm like, "Fuck
for
yeah,
him.
I am."
Did you have a good time Saturday? I wish I would have made it.
Yeah, you know what? As you guys know, I'm a big old loser, so I don't do much anymore. But when I do get out, I tell you what, it's
I
obviously a
wouldn't-
great fucking time.
When I think of Jeff Doyle, I don't think of a big old
Yeah, I
loser.
don't. I was gonna say that.
Well, just because, in honesty, I don't. I'm a homebody now. The older that I've gotten, I like home and this. That's at the end of the day, I know that
I feel
probably-
like you pop out a little bit, you know.
What's
Like,
that?
You pop out a little bit.
blue moon. But when I do, fucking shit's gonna hit the
Yeah,
fan.
I
We're
guess
gonna have
when you
fun.
come
We're
out,
gonna,
you show up.
100%,
Hey,
without a doubt. I'm
I-
proud of that. Thanks, Tyler.
I do like when you're like you steady roll, but then on the times when you're ready to go, you're ready
Full
to go.
throttle,
Like
yeah.
when we were down here for the Christmas party,
I was on like Donkey
you
Kong.
were on.
Yes,
you were
love it.
on
That's what
your
happens.
game.
You guys don't know this yet, but Jeff can attest. That's what happens when you get older. You got to pick your spots.
Yeah.
It's
And
true,
you,
though.
You go full out when you do, but yeah, it's you can't not do it
Yeah.
weekly. It's just not going to work.
I think I'm getting close to that. I rarely get like I don't think there's been a. I don't think I've ever drank, except for Ocean City. I don't think I've drank back to back days. Coach,
So is that
On
3?
a cruise.
Coach. Oh Jesus,
You
yeah,
got
that.
hammered.
Coach had his stretch this past weekend.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Coach said, I think it was Saturday. He's like, "Hey, Chris, we gotta drink again today."
yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta drink.
Yeah, so
again.
we went to Dunbar down to the Pitch bar down in it's right outside Charleston. Really really cool place. They were super cool, and Wayne was awesome from Big Timber, and we had a really good time. And
Oh, I love Wayne.
Chris and Coach got what does Champ say? They got gooned.
Gooned.
They got gooned up. We had I swear to God, the ride back home felt like we were in the car for 5 hours.
It was
how
long.
long? Just
It was real
we
long.
we had to stop 3 times for Coach to piss.
Shocker.
Sounds
and
fun.
then-
He was eating peanuts in the back of the car, got him all over the car.
I'm sure your mom was proud of that.
I heard that wasn't a
Next
good
shit,
Sunday
no.
morning.
No,
Or it wasn't
she
a good Sunday
She
morning.
wasn't too happy.
She was she was
Excuse me, Saturday morning.
Yeah,
it wasn't a good
Saturday
Saturday
morning,
morning.
and
we pulled in the driveway and she was you could tell like
That
something
look?
wasn't
because she was
good.
getting ready to leave, and there were beer cans under her seat.
Oh,
there were
geez.
peanuts all over the
like having a little
floor.
baby.
That's
hot
what-
fries.
Nobody answered me, and actually, I hit up your dad. I asked if it looked like fucking Nick Nardoni massacring
Yes.
peanuts, like in that kind of situation.
Well, they were de-shelled peanuts.
Oh, so that helps a little bit.
But still, the small peanuts didn't help Coach. And they were all over the floor. My mom was pissed. But then when we came down here to do the commercial in the morning, and him and my dad and Chris look at each other, my dad says, "Damn, Chris, we got to drink again tonight."
Yeah.
Like, and Cooley said, "Oh, you have to drink." I was like,
Gotta
"Well, yeah."
Yeah, and then as fate allowed it, well, I guess I shouldn't say. They were tasked to do something for the sake of the group.
Yeah, well, that's their fault.
For the sake
Hungover.
of,
Yeah.
For the sake of entertainment, they were tasked to do something that you guys
Yeah.
will see. Well, it should already be out, and I'll give a spoiler next week as to who was who. But it was a fun time. Thank you to
it was a
IC
great-
Cab.
That's
Great
cool.
job. Tate was awesome.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So what happened last week? I listened to the podcast. Matt was talking
remember.
about his
fog cutters.
His fog cutters.
Oh,
That
yeah,
shit was
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. You ever had one of those, Jeff?
I have, yes, I have. What at the Chinese restaurant you can only order 3.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they would
and then they
you
cut you off.
Yeah, they let me have
That's
4
exactly
one
what
time.
he said.
So, Rich, just to recap, what was in a fog cutter?
I honestly have to look it up. It would taste. I'll tell you, it tastes like Hawaiian Punch. The one that I
D,
had.
all of the above.
Yeah, that's what I told Tyler. It
We
has
should
like
make one.
it's like a Long Island iced tea. It's got like 1,000 things.
See,
but it
that-
is good. It's very good.
That's what I would like to have a drink, like a. What do you call that? Like not a mixed. Well, it is a mixed drink, but like if you could bottle that, what would you call it? Like if you went to the store,
Like
and
a
picked that up-
pre-made mix kind of thing.
kind of, but if
Yeah,
Feel
it'd
like
be
a
like a-
graveyard.
you could
No.
make
At Subway.
it'd be
Well,
like
you know what?
like
An alcoholic
It'd be
gravy,
like
that's
a
a good
malt
idea.
liquor version of
yeah,
a,
kind of.
Okay.
See, I would love to come up with a pine room, like some kind of malt liquor.
Pine room
like-
punch.
Oh, that's not
Ooh.
bad.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Shit.
good.
Ooh.
All right, here we go.
Trademarked right now.
Ready? Fog cutter. Here we go. White rum.
Oh Jesus.
Gin, brandy, orange juice, lemon juice. I feel like there's more stuff. Oh,
Amaretto.
amatil. I don't know. There's some sort of sherry, which is like a wine.
Wait, so gin?
Gin, rum,
rum.
brandy, and
So
then,
that's
then
3
orange
liquors.
juice, lemon juice. I thought there was more liquor than that. Mint, and then this sherry, which is like a wine, and then almond flavored liqueur or syrup. Okay.
Oh wow.
Cooley, you were
So-
on the wine wagon the other night.
Yeah, I'm a new wine guy. I like it now.
You
It's
said
solid.
you said you hit a wall.
Oh, dude, because I for some reason just started drinking a bottle of wine one Saturday at my house while I was playing Call of Duty with these guys, and I literally had to get off the game because I was so shit faced. I was playing the game and I was spinning. I was like, Jarrett, like I am so out of it.
Yeah,
right now.
there was a point that, like he said, he hit a wall, and we're talking the whole night and having fun, laughing, and there was like, we got game as we get later and later. I'm playing, and I was like, Cooley's gone. He's not even here. I couldn't even hear him because I knew then he was. Well,
Little
you were
buzzed
drinking.
out.
You were smoking a little gar too.
Yeah,
weren't
I had a cigar too. Cigar and wine all by myself.
Listen to that fucker. Way to be. Way to be.
you? I knew
love
that'd
it.
make you proud.
100%.
What'd you find, man?
Well, I found another recipe that has cognac in there as
Oh,
well.
Oh,
What
Jesus.
So
the
that's
fuck is
4.
that?
Cognac.
It'd be like Carvassier or what's the other one? The other big one.
Hennessy's not.
Yeah, Hennessy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
not a fan.
Yeah,
Tyler,
Chad Henney. I forgot we drank the bottle on Easter.
Anybody that actually drinks Hennessy like just to drink it is
That high end Hennessy we had at
That
Easter,
was
that
good.
was fucking
X,
good.
Yeah,
what,
that
Hennessy
was good.
X or
Yeah,
XO?
something. Yeah,
Max,
Max
spent
brought
like $112 on that.
I was gonna say it's an
bottle.
expensive bottle if I'm
Yeah,
not
it
mistaken.
was
Yeah.
It
expensive.
is.
It is a cool looking bottle. I do
Oh,
like
yeah.
the bottle.
I don't know
of
if I've
Hennessy.
seen the bottle. I'm not a Hennessy
It's
guy.
like there's something about the cloud of having a bottle of Hennessy, even though it tastes like shit.
It's
You're just
awful.
carrying it
I
around.
don't think
You
it's
have to
that
mix
bad. I really.
I
think
don't
it
like
sucks?
regular
Have you-
Hennessy. I think regular Hennessy
Have you
tastes
ever
like
had
shit.
1942? That's not an expensive bottle. That it tastes like shit too. I don't understand why all the expensive stuff is all awful.
Oh, it's all like you could light it on fire.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
That's it.
it's like lighter fluid. I mean,
If I drop it, it blows up.
antifreeze.
We got into a big discussion Saturday night about wine. So it's funny that you're saying this. Like we were talking about how different the wine buzz is and
Oh, it's so
how it
different.
can make you so sick if you drink too much. I mean, obviously any
Sneaks
liquor
up
and
on
yeah,
you.
it sneaks up on you, makes you really.
It's been eaten
Actually,
before.
you know what the best part about it is? Your story came out.
Oh yeah,
100%.
would.
Yep, it came out.
Have you?
It was the curse of the wine. It happened 3 years in a row. It was
Oh, don't
me-
worry. That room's gone
Yeah, it's-
now.
it-
yeah.
It's the
gone.
cursed room.
That whoever's gonna live there now is gonna that
Uh-huh.
first day is gonna be.
Have you ever told that story on there?
I don't think.
I don't know this
Yeah.
story.
Do you know this?
I don't
I think
think
I've told. I think
Maybe
I've
if I
told it
hear
on
it.
here. I think
Yeah,
I've told
you
it
would
on
know
here.
this story.
Wine and
Yeah.
fucked up. Pretty
Oh,
simple,
man.
right?
Oh man, it was. So it happened 3 years in a row. First it was me, then it was
Derek.
Chris's son Derek, and then it was Chris's sister-in-law Bonnie. my
Hold on. So
cousin.
you were the because I was told that it went whoever you just said last, then you,
No,
then
No,
Derek.
Bonnie was
no,
last.
My
Joe
dad
was in-
always fucks that
Wait,
up.
so what? I don't know what happened.
So it was
Joe
it
was
was
the inaugural.
Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving. I was like 18. I was 16 or 18 years old in between that, and I hadn't really been a drink. I really rarely drank, and which don't drink underage. But I think
You're
I
in a
drank.
family
I think
environment. You're.
I think I
like, you
drank
were
at your
driving or
house
anything.
first.
Yeah, we had that, like,
And that was the
before.
first time I drank. I got beat by Brooke. I was pitching. I got beat by Brooke, and that night
That'd
I
make
just
me
was like,
drink too.
a drink under the bridge. But anyway, we had
Brooke High School,
Thanksgiving,
by the way.
and yeah, not a human
A
being.
girl
Like,
named
yeah,
Brooke or a boy named
yeah,
Brooke
She
beat the shit
yeah,
out of
she
you.
broke my nose.
Hopefully it was a girl.
So we went to Thanksgiving and we had this big bottle of Chablis Blanc, which is a white wine, and it was.
I thought it was red.
No, it was white. I have a
You
picture
sure?
of it.
No,
I
Derek
have,
got
I have
red.
a picture of it
Oh.
on my phone. It's a Chablis Blanc, and I'll never
Uncle
forget
Tim
it.
was pouring it for you.
Uncle Tim.
So I took
fucking-
one cup and I was like, oh yeah, I'll
horrible
have
influence.
a glass of wine. Why not? And I'd never drank wine before, and I was like, this is pretty damn good. It tastes like grape
Just
juice.
like what you were saying, Jeff.
So I had it. I had a glass, and I had two. And then my Uncle Tim, my dad's brother, starts feeding me these glasses. Like every time I was done and I sat it down, it'd be full again.
And to put it in, and you know this, but like Uncle Tim is the version of. So I'll put it like this: they're brothers, both professional drinker level.
Oh.
But the difference between your dad and Uncle Tim is Uncle Tim drinks the whiskey
Yes.
and the wine
Straight,
and like he's very like he and I together. We just like I don't drink liquor that much, but when I go with him. If I go to his house or we met up at the beach a few times, it's like we drink an entire bottle of whiskey ourselves. Like he's this very sophisticated drinker, same version of Mark, but like Mark's all beer, and then Tim's like liquor, wine, and you know he's giving it the job. Like, oh, this kid's got the genes to drink this stuff.
Yeah. My Uncle Tim, he drinks like regular Crown straight.
Oh,
On a cube.
On a cube. And just jumping back a little bit, when we were at, I think it was Aunt Sue's house for something, and he was there.
Probably when he came in for Thanksgiving one time.
Yeah, and I took just a swig of it out of the bottle because I'd never had it before, and I literally thought my esophagus was going to burn out of my throat or out of my
That
neck.
reminds me of another. Go ahead and tell the rest of this story because I don't another one that reminds me.
So we were at the dinner table, and he just starts giving me these glasses of wine, and they were like,
Job's basically going drink for drink with him.
and I didn't know any
Didn't
better.
bode well.
Not good.
I didn't know any better because
it tastes like fruit juice.
yeah,
Like,
and I'd only been drunk once, so I really didn't know my limit, and he just kept giving them to me. And by the end of the night, we finished the bottle of Chablis.
And it was a
I mean,
big
it was
one, too.
It was like a
it's
growler,
like a big drum.
it had the finger, like the little glass
Yeah.
finger loop, and we got done with it. And I remember I got up and I stepped like up on that step.
Well,
and
you hadn't stood up. You were sitting the whole
no,
time, right?
I stood up one time. I got up and I went on that. There's a little ledge right before you get into the living room, and I remember I stepped up on that ledge and I went, oh shit. And I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I went, "You're good."
Isn't that a
You're
shitty
good.
feeling when, like, when you
know it's
fucked up?
over.
Yeah.
You can't get it back.
Yeah, it's done.
And actually, when you're giving yourself the fucking pep talk in the mirror,
You're already
Put some cold
you're
water
already-
on your face.
you're
Like,
already
oh, but it'll be
gone.
all right.
Just get through the night.
Yeah, you're already gone. If you're giving yourself that speech, you're done.
But at least you weren't saying like, "Oh, I got to drive home."
No.
Well, yeah.
right?
So you were in a safe environment.
Yeah, so I
that's-
was standing. I was at the mirror in the bathroom. I was like, I'm good. You're good. You're good. You experienced this before. We're good. Just go back in there. And of course, I go back in, and he starts giving me more wine. And I'm like,
good night.
I'm like, all right. I started going, and the last thing I remember, and now it's kind of pieced back together since it happened. Last thing I remember, I was talking to Game of Thrones with Matt, and I mentioned Brienne of Tarth, who's a character on Game of Thrones.
Because Uncle Tim watches that too, and he was
And
talking about
the
all this.
lights went out, and I woke up the next morning, and I woke up in the bed, and I felt great. I felt like $1 million, but I was like, I kind of got up, and I was like, man, that something's not clicking right now, and I went, oh shit, I got drunk, and I don't remember the night, and then it started to fill in. I puked at the
I'm
table.
sure your dad remembered you.
I puked at the
made
table.
you
I
remember
puked at
quick.
the car. I puked in the.
You
I
puked on
at
the
the table. No, at the table.
Well,
like I had a.
Well, no, this is what I remember this so vividly. He hits the wall, and like you said, it's gone. Like boom, his face just changed.
Then
Everything
your
changed.
dad was a mess.
So,
about
and
that.
and this is funny that he's about to throw up. I think it was me. I believe it was me. Grabbed the bugle bowl and was gonna put it up.
in
So
there,
he
yeah.
puked in the bugle bowl, but then somebody grabbed a
Your
garbage bag
sister,
real
Jenna.
quick.
Oh yeah.
Grabbed the bag real quick. His head goes into the bag, and then that was it.
Hold on, was it a bugle bag?
No, it was
Would've
just
been
a,
really
yeah, well, yeah.
That'd
No,
have been
I never puked in my I have, but I
Not
puked
alcohol
maybe,
related?
Maybe once or twice in my life. Like I don't puke. I just like when I get sick, I don't throw up. I make it like a point not to throw up. So to do that on wine was like I remember overtop the toilet at home. My mom just bought our car. It was the Rogue. It was a brand new Nissan, brand new, and I puke.
A
in the
couple
back
days
seat.
old. Yeah.
Anyway, so I get home, I throw up in the toilet, then I go to bed, and I wake up, and then the rest is history. But I felt horrible for days. Like, not sick, but I felt like I ruined the night. I was so guilty. I apologized to Aunt Lynn and his dad. I was like, I feel terrible that I
didn't ruin anything. He made it was fun.
So
then,
that's
like a core.
glad
That's
you're all
a
right.
core memory.
Yeah.
So we're still talking about
And
it
then
3 years
Derek does
later.
it the next year.
So the next year, my cousin D'Lo, who is Chris's son, he gets into the red wine. And
Similar
similar
account.
experience.
very
Didn't
similar.
throw up, but
That
it
was
was
Thanksgiving also.
it was not good. And then my cousin Bonnie got into the white
That
wine
was Christmas party,
and
though.
the red wine, and she was
Yeah,
mixing.
she was mixing.
Is that Medovic? Bonnie Medovic?
No.
I didn't realize you guys were related.
No. Jesus,
You could
we'll
take
leave that there.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure if don't.
No, so she gets into red and white wine, and she got hammered, and she fell into the Christmas
Vomiting on the
tree.
way
Ooh.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, Tim.
the best
God
thing
rest his
ever.
soul. It's his greatest day of his life.
Greatest day of his life, he said. That is.
Because he's always the one taking the shit for drinking, and it was his wife this time.
Ah, okay.
So
They were on the
he
side
felt
of the
very
highway.
vindicated.
And
he was,
they had to pull over on the highway
Yeah.
so she could throw up, and
And he
he
just
opens up the tailgate on his truck and sat on the tailgate
Just
laughing
watched.
his ass off and said it was the greatest day of his life.
Like giving the golf clap and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Does anybody else, real quick? We got a couple minutes before we got to get our guest on the line. But anybody else have any puke stories? You got hammered on your 21st birthday. I know that.
Yeah, we've told that on here.
Yeah.
I've thrown up plenty of times.
I've had not proud of it. Obviously, like Jubber gave the disclaimer, wait till you're 21 to drink. But my freshman year of high school, went to a house that I grew up with this family my whole life. They literally went out of town for a little bit. Daughter threw a party. They had just put all new carpeting in their upstairs.
I know where this.
First time ever. Oh, obviously I was a freshman, so it was first time for everything. Drank a butt ton of gin. Have not drank gin since then. So that is what 14
that's
years
a
old.
tough starter drink.
I'm 45, so 30 years I've never tasted gin, and I fucking you know the mouth. And this is so ignorant. I'm so disgusted in myself. Granted, I was 14, 15 years old. You could feel it coming, but I was so fucked up, and obviously was new to being fucked up. I start spitting on their carpet because I knew something was gonna happen.
no.
Next thing I know, I just started fucking puking all over their carpet.
Oh,
I've known these people
man.
my whole life. Literally, their relatives bought me before I was born outfits over in Ireland. I mean, just yeah.
Oh,
You thought
Jesus.
not representing the Doyle family
I thought
very
I-
well at all.
I thought I felt bad. Good
Best-
God.
and you
you
know
didn't
where
do
I
any
knew.
property damage. Chuck.
You know the best part about it too. We'll get to our guest. Is my dad picked me up that night because literally just it was at the bottom of the hill, and I knew that I fucked up because I didn't get in the front seat. I got in the back seat, so my dad knew right away
Knew
that
it.
Matt,
fucking
did
shit
you-
wasn't
have-
right.
Have you had any bad?
Well, the fog cutter
fog
one was,
cutters,
but
that's-
that
oh,
one
yeah.
was more just like brain, like I don't know, but like I said, brain eating
rot.
amoeba got me.
Brain rot.
No, actually, when I was in high school, it was probably high school. Some of my friends and I drank this stuff called, and it's similar to what Jeff said. It was called Ice 101. I couldn't drink it again if I had to. It was one of those.
Ice 101.
Oh, it's horrible. It was like peppermint schnapps, but it was really high test peppermint schnapps. It was horrible. It was like drinking mouthwash, and at the time you're thinking like, oh, I'm a rookie drinker to say the least, and you're drinking something that tastes good, and you're like, oh, this is good. It tastes like peppermint patty. We
God.
were like three of us out in the fucking snow throwing up because we knew it was coming. Like I was like, all right, I got to get outside here, so I don't want to do
Dude,
carpet.
what an idiot! What
I
did.
got going out in the snow, and I remember just laying in that snow for like an hour, and then by the time it was done with, it's cold and you start to feel better. But
Yeah.
it was horrible, and I can never drink that
Laying
again.
in the snow.
I feel like everybody has that one drink they throw up from.
Yeah, like
And
if I
then
never
smelled
go
that
back.
stuff,
yeah,
it
like
would.
mine
true,
in high
though.
school was Red's Apple Ale. Like that was the first beer I was drinking.
Really?
And
Well,
yeah,
you must have drank a shitload
oh,
of that.
dude,
to-
because I didn't know my limit.
Oh,
I get
my
that.
First time drinking, I threw up. I can't. smell
All
it
rookie
drinking.
stories.
Yeah.
All rookie stories.
Well, if
Yeah.
anybody,
Learned the hard way.
if anybody's got any stories, DM us on Instagram. We'll talk
Vomiting
about them.
stories.
We'll talk about them
Yeah.
in the next episode.
Jared, I remember the one time we got to the pine room, not to cut Jub off, but like Jay said, Jarrett was a mess. He was like
It's the
on the
worst.
bathroom floor. I remember you were in terrible pain.
I had
that day.
these
He
damn
showed up looking like
sunglasses
Stevie
on.
Wonder.
But what
My
did you
mom-
drink that made you fucked
I
up so
can't
bad?
remember. I think it was just.
Wait,
I
just
think
the
just,
West Lib
just
party?
just
Yeah,
Bush
drank
Light.
like 30
I think.
Bush
And
Lights.
it was like the first time that I really,
Right.
really.
Well, that's what
went
I
hard.
didn't even know you drank that much, and then they were like, I think even Soup
I think
was
we
there.
were
dude.
taking
Yeah.
shots of Crown.
Yeah,
that night.
and it was
see?
something, and
There
we
you
didn't
go.
have
You were like a
drive and-
literal corpse almost.
Oh, I had
Say
these
would
damn
always have a
sunglasses on. I looked
Oh.
blind. And, I slept on the bathroom floor that night. And
Yeah.
it was bad. My eyes were like popping out of my head. I was so fucked up.
So brutal though, man.
Oh,
So
God, yeah.
brutal.
It was
It's the worst feeling in the
one
world.
of my proudest moments. I think. Shit, now I don't even really think about it. If I got to throw up, I'm like, shit, I'm throwing up.
Oh,
Yeah,
without a
now
doubt.
you're just experienced enough. You
yeah,
just know.
I'm seasoned.
You get to that point.
I haven't thrown up in a long time. Knock on wood.
Hey, let's
Knock
make
on-
it happen.
All
Try
right.
not
Throw
to
up
do
on the
that.
It's a
way.
new
No.
season in the Pine Room.
No.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back with Jerry Thomas, the promoter for the Rough and Rowdy. Oh, man. Just great stuff.
Let's
coming up.
go.
All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Pine Room Podcast, but you don't just have to listen to the podcast. We have some other stuff out there too, like Bettor's Last Stand, our sports betting show covering all things sports and betting. Or Soup and Stuff, where Soup sits down with business owners, athletes, and other professionals for good conversation. Or if you want to listen to us live, you can tune into the Watchdog, FM 98.1 or AM 1600. Or you can listen live online at thewatchdognetwork.com. You're listening to the Pine Room Podcast. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back into the Pine Room Podcast, episode 71. We have on the line a good friend of the podcast, good friend of the studio here, Jerry Thomas, promoter of the Rough and Rowdy. We talked to you last year when the Rough and Rowdy was in town. We had an absolute blast, but we appreciate you coming on, Jerry. I know you're busy this time of year, especially with what's coming up, but it's good to hear from you again. How you been, and how are things looking for this year?
Well, first off, we're doing great. We're busy. All things are good. This event, Friday night, of course, at West Banco Arena is Barstool Rough and Rowdy 22. It's 22nd event for this event or this format, which is, as we talked before and you've seen in person, I think. It's a one-night boxing event, similar to Toughman in some ways. In fact, I've had people describe it as Toughman WWE style with a sprinkling of circus. And it's very entertaining. The card we put together for Friday night is probably the best one I've ever seen. At least on paper, it looks like it. Never know until they get in the ring, of course. But, I mean, there's some great matchups on the event. We have 20 bouts scheduled. 6 of those 20 are female bouts. 1 is a dwarf match, and we have a couple of giants fighting. So we have a little bit of everything. Yeah. Well, 6'6", 300 pounds. That's that's close to a giant as we can get, I think.
That's a fair statement.
It's looking. Yeah, exactly. It's looking really good, and there is no such thing. But if there was in the dwarf division, if there was a heavyweight division, these guys that are fighting Friday night would fit the bill. Jeremy Smith, who's undefeated, 6 straight bouts in Rough and Rowdy. He's the Rough and Rowdy dwarf champion.
Now he's dynamite,
He's pretty good
Jerry?
size.
Yeah.
That's Dynamite Jeremy Smith.
Yeah, we got to know him last year. Great guy.
Yeah, great guy. Jeremy is 4'6", and his natural weight is 145. He's he's very stocky, very strong. Does a lot of powerlifting. He actually squats 750 pounds.
Holy shit!
I remember that last
Wow.
Think about that. Think about that. Now, the interesting part about Jeremy, and I'll talk about him just for a minute, and I'll go back to the main event. But Jeremy has been cutting weight anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds for his previous fights because all of his opponents were smaller, anywhere from 110 to 120 pounds, which is the average size, little person like that. So we were in search for someone his size, got lucky and found a guy from South Beach, Miami, Florida, who is a pro wrestler. He's had 10 underground fights, won them all.
Oh boy.
According to him, we can't verify, but I did see video on one. He happens to be the biggest dwarf I have ever seen. He is 4'8", 2 inches taller than Jeremy Smith, and he weighs 154 pounds.
Oh wow.
His name is Rafizi. One word, Rafizi.
Rafizi.
Rafezy, and so Rafizi is very vocal, very positive, very confident, and of course Jeremy's happy to fight someone close to his size, although I don't think he expected someone bigger than him, which will be a first time for him. So that's a great matchup, and again, if there was such a thing as a heavyweight division for dwarfs, this would be it. The main event is a rematch from this past March. Michael Make It Happen Brown from Parkersburg defeated Bobby Lights Out Lang from Braintree, Massachusetts, back in March on our Charleston show. They butted heads during the fight. Bobby Lang got the worst end of that. He insists that it was deliberate. Of course, the referee didn't call it that, and Michael Brown insists that it wasn't. So Lights Out Lang lost the decision, demanded a rematch. Michael Brown said he would be glad to give him a rematch. So flash forward to July 1st of this year, the West Virginia Athletic Commission. I don't mean to ramble on here.
No, keep on going. That's
This
great.
is interesting.
Okay, so July 1, the West Virginia State Athletic Commission, who sanctions and supervises all combative sports in West Virginia, they set the rules and regulations. Well, there are rules for these events as well as Toughman, and so at the request of several people, they changed the rules and increased the number of rounds that people can fight in this event and in Toughman if we want. And so now we have the ability to do 5-round bouts. Now there's still 1 minute per round, but instead of the normal 3 rounds, the main event is going to be scheduled for 5 rounds. We also have 2 other bouts that are part of our main events or featured fights on the card that are also 5-rounders. And so the Lights Out Lang and Make It Happen Brown match scheduled for 5 rounds, that's the main event. It's a rematch. They both have been talking and training like crazy for months now, anticipating this rematch. And you might remember Bobby Lang is the guy who beat Pac-Man Jones twice.
Yes. And Big Dick Daddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when he was in
that's
Wheeling
it.
last
Booty,
year.
Booty Daddy. Yeah, Big Dick Booty Daddy.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, is he
last
still
year
around? Is that guy
at
still
West
around?
Banco. He absolutely is.
Okay.
In fact, you're going to love this. He was signed by a professional wrestling group out of Atlanta,
Wow.
and he's now touring the country, professional wrestling.
Oh my God.
Oh, he was a good villain.
I
I'll
was
tell you
going to
that.
say he played
did
that
a
role
good job.
very well.
He's a
Yeah.
great. He makes for a great bad guy. We actually had him on the same event that Brown and Lang fought on in Charleston back in March, and as you might remember, he got in this little bit of hot water in Wheeling, March
Yep.
of 22, punched out another fighter, got into a scuffle with the police, and
Yeah.
after he left the ring, of course, he quit in that fight against
He
Lang.
did. He went
Yes, he
soft
did.
on us,
Yeah.
Jerry.
Is that and now?
Yeah, he
now
did.
this-
He did. He couldn't land a haymaker, so
He had to play
ended up
dirty.
checking out.
Yeah.
Hey, this might be
Yeah, he did.
you
He
might
tried.
not be able to
Yeah.
reveal this, and I that you don't feel pressured, but is
Yeah.
this and in a little look behind the curtain? Is this a character that he does? Is he like? Have you spoken to him one-on-one before?
Oh, many times.
And
Yeah.
and
No, he's nuts. That's him. He's
Oh,
nuts. That's
okay.
him.
All right.
He's a complete fruitcake. He's
Oh,
nuts.
wow. All right. All right.
Well, that actually leads into my
Likeable
next question.
guy off
Oh, good.
camera.
I'm sorry.
He's actually a likable guy off camera. Was always very respectful with me and our crew. But no, that's him. That's him. That's his personality. So he makes for a perfect pro wrestler. But we had him on a show in Charleston, and he ended up fighting one of the very few draws that I've ever seen in
wow.
one of these events, and he left town an unhappy camper, but vowed he'd be back again. So I don't know.
Now he's
You might see
wrestling.
him again down the road, but.
Yeah, but
But,
what about
uh,
you know what, to piggyback off of that, from a recruiting side of things, and you made the statement about a circus. So is there a recruitment involved, number one, or do people just automatically fall on your doorstep? And part two of that is there like a
we do.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we do some recruiting via social media and our website. But here's an example of what we're dealing with, and this is the norm. We received over 600 applications from men and women across the country who wanted to participate in this event this week in Wheeling, and we're only matching 20 fights with 2 alternates. So we were charged with selecting 42 people out of over 600. So it's a pretty tough job,
Sure.
So we have a combination of some locals, some regional fighters, and of course some national people that are going to be on the card or are on the card this Friday night. But the one of the other 5-round featured bouts is a guy that I'm sure you may remember, the Polish Hammer.
Yes.
From Barnesville.
Yes.
Polish Hammer, 6'7", 205 or 10 pounds. Real name Hunter Markovich. 3-time Ohio Valley Toughman champion, actually twice in Wheeling, once in Parkersburg. He is taking on a guy from Connecticut by the name of Daniel Diamond Hands Amesbury, who is a pro hockey player who is undefeated in 6 fights. Diamond Hands Amesbury fought 4 bouts on the ice. Of course, he fought a lot of fights on the ice, but there was actually an event created by some hockey promoters called Ice Wars, and they basically put 2 hockey players, on the ice in their uniform with no helmet and MMA gloves, and they fought on the ice. Of course, they got skates on. 3 one-minute rounds with MMA gloves. Okay, and so Diamond Hands, of course, he used to fighting on the ice and about every game, I guess. But he won 4 straight, and actually he's the Ice Wars heavyweight champion. He's coming down in weight to meet the Polish Hammer, who's a little bit lighter. But so that's a great matchup. That's going to be scheduled for 5 rounds as well. So that's the second fight down. Then we have another well-known Ohio Valley fighter, another former Toughman champion on the card. We have the American Redneck, Brad Huntsman.
Oh yeah, he's our boy.
He's a good dude, really good dude.
Oh, great guy. And the interesting thing about Huntsman and Markovich, they're both 23, 24 years old. I mean, they are very young. They've been around a while, had some fights and experience, but the match is another 5-rounder. The American Redneck, Brad Huntsman, he's going to fight a guy from Atlanta, Georgia, who's a police officer in Atlanta. And he shared something with me a while back that he literally has to fight every day on the job in Atlanta. Can you imagine? Yeah. Anyway, his name is Joe Mogavero. His ring name is the Black Italian Stallion.
Oh wow!
So he's half black and half Italian, and he is undefeated. He's only had a couple of fights in Rough and Rowdy. Boxed a couple of fundraiser fights, police versus firemen in Atlanta. He's a big guy too, not as big as Huntsman and Markovich, but he's 6'3", 230, and he's going to take on Brad Huntsman, who is 6'6", 245 or so. And that is another 5-round bout. So that's just the top of the card, the 3 featured bouts. Then you have the dwarf fight, Then we have the Abel twins from Pittsburgh, who were very well known in Barstool rough and rowdy circles. Frank the Tank from Barstool calls them the worst fighters in rough and rowdy history. Spencer, the smaller of the two, is 0-4, and his big brother, the heavyweight, his name is Zach, and Zach, the Assassin King, he does have one win, I believe, and 3 losses, but they're very colorful. They always put on a show, and they're on the card in some pretty even matchups. And then just if you guys don't mind, I'll just zip down through.
Yeah,
the
go
chart.
ahead.
Go for
Perfectly
it.
fine.
So, going down the list, kind of in reverse order. Let me see if I missed anyone. Oh, almost missed Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah.
Casey Wheeler.
Yeah.
Casey Wheeler. Yep. Casey Wheeler started out as a ring girl, is a personal trainer, was a Division I athlete at William and Mary College, was a runner, and actually set a record at William and Mary for the 400 meter. She's a unbelievable athlete, personal trainer actually, so she's in the gym all day long. She's a big girl. She's 5'9", weighs about 150 pounds. She's 4-3 so far in her boxing career. So she's set to take on, excuse me, a seasoned fighter from Cleveland by the name of Krishana. Looks like Krishana Wynn. And Krishana Wynn has had about 10 amateur fights, fought in some Golden Glove events, and she's from Cleveland, big gym there, good matchup. She's a little shorter at 5'6", about 145 pounds. But that'll be a test for Casey Hot Wheels Wheeler. And then going down, Joe Wheeler calls himself Wheels of Death from Cambridge. Joe Wheeler's a former Toughman champion also, and he's taken on a guy from Pennsylvania, Monongalia, Pennsylvania, named the popular Tommy Pendlin. Pendlin, pretty confident guy. He and Wheeler, of course, are at each other. It's a battle of words at this point on social media, but that bout is going to be a cruiserweight bout, which, by the way, is 215-pound limit. Then we have another female on the card who actually owns a win over Hot Wheels from Parkersburg. Her name is Tanya Hardhands Hopkins, and she is going to take on the Mamba from Princeton, West Virginia, who's undefeated, and who's also a personal trainer, by the way. Her real name is April Klein. Then we have another local, Cal Kidlow, whose ring name is 50 Cal.
Another good dude.
Cal Kidlow. Another good guy, tough guy. Trains with Josh Baker at the Bullpen Fight Club. He's going to take on Justin Hands of Stone Milan from Parkersburg, who trains at the Doghouse Gym in Parkersburg. And he's been around. He's had a few fights as well. And then we have an interesting female bout, another one. We have from Pittsburgh, January God's Work Hogue, Hogue. January she's undefeated in one bout. She won the Wheeling Tough Woman division this past February. And she's going to take on a gal from Brooklyn, New York, who claims to be an influencer and a seasoned boxer by the name of Brooklyn Barwick. And that's an interesting matchup as well. January Hogue is just turned 39, and her opponent is about 23.
Jerry,
Ooh, wow.
Jerry, who's the oldest fighter? Who's the oldest fighter on the card?
Well, actually, I think it's January. Yeah,
Okay,
January.
probably so.
I would have
Yeah,
assumed.
yeah.
I was just checking.
He's
Yep.
the oldest fighter here at 39.
39. Okay.
That'd be tough, man.
It's
Wow.
a young. It's a young group. Yeah. Here's the and we have another local fighter, the Strawberry Cowboy.
Oh yeah. Okay. I remember
Okay,
him.
Strawberry Cowboy, Trace Rowdy, another former Toughman champion, and he's taking on a guy from Pittsburgh by the name of James Bongiorno. Go figure, James Bongiorno, the Italian stallion. But then we have another great matchup, and it's a very interesting twist here. We have a WVU cheerleader
Oh.
who in his high school days was an all-state wrestler from the Parkersburg area. He's 6 foot 330 pounds.
Oh, my.
Oh, shit.
He's a
Think about
cheerleader?
it. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, he's a cheerleader. I looked him up. Yeah, he's look him up. Just Google WVU cheerleaders, and you'll see him. His name is Loudon Haga, Haga. He was a wrestler, never fought. This is his debut, and he's taking on a guy from up in the Steubenville area by the name of Brad Bam Bam Allison, who's 275 or 80 pounds, who is also about 6 foot. No prior fights. So we got two debuts there, two big guys, but 330-pound cheerleader. I didn't think
That's
they made it.
unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. You were talking about from a standpoint, you brought up the word circus, Jerry, and obviously if this is going too much as well, too, I understand. But is that kind of like a requirement? I mean, does Barstool and do you guys really boost that up when it comes to, hey, hype this up as much as you can, act like a clown, or is that just kind of in all these people's demeanors already?
I think it comes naturally because a lot of these people obviously follow the event and follow Barstool Sports, so they know what it's all about.
Okay.
Pretty much when they sign up. And here's another interesting match I almost missed. We have the Butterbean Jr., John Weaver,
Yes.
from the area, I believe Moundsville, and he's fighting Pretty Boy Rogers. They're making their debut. But here's another interesting matchup. We have a gal fighting on this card who is 5'10", weighs 150 pounds. She's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed babe, very pretty girl who was taking boxing classes just for conditioning. She was a collegiate athlete also, soccer, and also did some running. Her name is Ireland Broadway Gabriella.
Oh, wow.
And her story is she went to the gym. She lives in Nashville, went to the gym. She's in entertainment, by the way. She's an executive assistant to a nationally known comedian. And Theo Vaughn is actually the guy's name.
Oh, my
But-
God,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she is his executive assistant. But so Ireland got the urge to fight, so she filed an entry form, and I talked to her several times, and we got her matched up. And so she's fighting a girl who happens to be, I don't know if you know the name, Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Cherry Bomb's niece.
Oh.
Cherry
Keep it in the
Bomb's
family,
niece
Jerry.
Exactly. It's West Virginia, man, but she's a former ring girl who also got the urge. Of course, she's trained some with her aunt, and she actually went to the boxing gym, same reasoning as Irene Broadway did, to get in shape, lose weight, and so forth. And she cut quite a bit of weight, actually. So her name is Baby Machete, but the interesting twist here is her real name is Krista Mitchell. So she's going to be a ring girl also, and she's going to fight. She's a former roller derby player.
Wow.
Played
She
in the
likes
league in
violence.
Charleston. She's from Charleston, and quite a colorful character. Baby Machete. So Baby Machete and Broadway
Oh, wow.
Gabriella. But Broadway Gabriella has an interesting story. You should talk to her maybe Thursday if you come to the weigh-in. So she was involved in a failed abduction.
Oh my.
Oh wow.
And so apparently the brief part of the story is, the short version is, her and a couple of her friends were leaving a restaurant in Nashville, and it's, at night, 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and so they're going down the street to their car, and they see a man attempting to put a female in his car, and they were fighting, and the female was fighting him off. So they thought the guy was trying to abduct this girl. So Ireland, and her friends, of course, Ireland ended up leading the charge. They attempted to help this young lady. What turned out to be a setup.
Oh wow.
And instead of helping this young lady, the young lady and the man grabbed her and attempted to put her in the car.
Jesus.
This is Ireland.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah. So she fought with him, and as she says, it's the only fight she's ever lost. But she put up a good fight, and they gave up. They couldn't get her in the car, and
good for her.
Listen, it gets better. She chased the car. Okay, remember she's a runner too, so she chases the car. She gets the plate number, calls the police, and 6 minutes later, the police stop the car and arrest these two.
Oh my goodness. That's
Wow.
incredible
Story.
Well, hopefully they're not
incredible
seeing the
story,
light
yeah.
of day, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't think they are, but
Good.
Can you imagine? I mean, it was a setup, and she ended up they attempted to abduct her, which didn't work out. It turns out, of course, she's a big girl, and she's been taking boxing lessons, and she fought him, and they gave up and jumped in the car and took off.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I'm excited about that fight now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Oh, I am too. I'm very excited, and they're both charged up, supercharged. And it's their first fight in the ring. Although Broadway Gabriella claims that she's had 6 street fights and only lost one, and that was the one with the failed abduction where she fought 2 people. Man,
I wouldn't call that a loss.
Who knows where she'd be right now if she didn't? Oh.
Well, she said she got beat up pretty good, but she saved herself from being abducted.
Oh,
And
my.
who knows what could have happened there? And we have Chris Percival, who's known as the Prophet from Pittsburgh, fighting Trent Turbo Sayer from Marietta, Ohio. They both have had a few fights in another great matchup. But here's another interesting fight. In fact, the opening fight of the night, we have a gal by the name, calls herself Mimi the Hustler, real name Amy Friend. She's an exotic dancer and claims to be the #1 stripper in the state of Pennsylvania. Okay.
I don't know about that.
And yeah, I don't know. Well, you'll have to make your own decision.
Yes.
So she's pretty feisty, pretty game, and she's had a couple of rough and rowdy fights. So she's fighting a gal by the name of Jessica Mayhem Miller, who has had a couple of tough man fights and lost a rough and rowdy event to the Mamba. So she is a personal trainer, Mayhem Miller is, and they're both not very big. Amy or Mimi the Hustler is 4'11". She could almost go to the dwarf division, but not quite.
That's what I was thinking.
Almost. I think you have to be under 4'10", I think,
Wow.
to be considered a dwarf. But so she's 4'11", about 120 pounds or so, 25. And Mayhem Miller is 5'2" and weighs about 123 pounds. So 2 little girls, feisty girls, both training in shape, very game, very vocal. That could be interesting.
Awesome.
So that's the quick overview. Yeah.
Yeah. So For those because we've built a little bit of a following since the last time we talked to you. For anybody that hasn't been to the Rough and Rowdy, in a little capsule, what can people expect?
It's like going to Toughman the first night of Toughman, which I sometimes refer to as comedy night. So it's the first night of Toughman or like that, presented WWE style with some circus and a lot of lights and sound and special effects, and it's a spectacle to see. A lot of Barstool characters will be there, and of course, we're broadcasting live. Dave Portnoy and the Big Cat will be at ringside doing the broadcast commentary along with Robbie Fox, and Jersey Jerry will be there also, and who's established a good following on social media. Frank the Tank will be there. Large will be there along with Caleb Presley and a few others from Barstool Sports. But it's going to be a great event, and people can expect a lot of excitement, a lot of action, some great fights. Beautiful ring girls, by the way.
All right.
You cannot go wrong with that, Jerry. Can't go wrong with that.
Yes, just 19 ring girls.
Oh, that's it. Okay. You got a horrible job, Jerry. I feel
we
bad for you.
We were shooting for 20. It's a tough job, but as I like to say, someone's got to do it.
Damn straight.
I'm happy to do that.
100%.
Do that.
Well, just a couple things here, Jerry, and we'll let you go here. But I just wanted, when I talked to you a while back ago, I was telling you our partnership with Big Timber, and was telling you that we were launching a new beer by the name of the Pine Room Lager. And I know you were very upfront to say that you're not a big beer guy, but on a personal note, I do got to know. So if you were gonna sit back tonight and you were gonna have a cocktail, what would be your flavor of cocktail?
Actually, I enjoy a Bud Light.
Okay.
And occasionally, a glass of Merlot.
Nice.
Not a lot, usually with a meal, unless it's in the summer and we're sitting out by the pool or something. But I'd be happy to try your new beer.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's all over the state. Yeah,
you.
for sure. It's all over the state now. Matter of fact, on Thursday night, we're going to be kind of limited with our crew because we're having another, it's actually our 4th launch party up in the northern panhandle up at a place called Basil. So most of our crew is going to be up there, but Matt and myself are going to be coming down to the weigh-ins on Thursday, which will lead into my next point. You are always so gracious with your time, Jerry. We really do appreciate that. And also,
you're welcome. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, and last thing real quick, really do appreciate you giving us the opportunity, a small part on Friday night. You have no idea what that means to us. We understand the rules and regulations that are in place for us, and we would never abuse anything that you asked us to do, but we just genuinely really appreciate that opportunity.
Sure. We appreciate that, and I want to add one thing real quick, and two things actually. The event kicks off at 8 p.m. With the singing of the national anthem, of course, presentation of the colors. West Virginia
Big Cat
Army
singing
National
it again,
Guard.
Jerry?
Big Cat will be there singing the anthem. He's actually getting pretty good.
Yeah.
We're going to open the doors at 6:30, and there are good seats still available, starting as low as $25. There are some reserve seats as well, and some VIP ringside seats available for people who like to get real close to the action, or some people call them the Gallagher seats, where you could get some blood and sweat. And of course, tickets are available obviously at the box office at Westbanco Arena or at westbancoarena.com. But we're broadcasting live worldwide through our website, byrnr.com, byrnr.com. But something new for this event, first time ever, we partnered with YouTube, and we're also going to broadcast. It's a pay-per-view, of course, but we're also going to broadcast on YouTube as well.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
I tell you what,
so
definitely evolving, my friend.
YouTube.
Growing and evolving. That's all great problems to have.
It's definitely growing, and it's been an amazing ride, and we're just getting warmed up. This, again, I think could be the best show we've ever had.
Well, I tell you what, Jerry, we are super excited.
You gotta be there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
We are super excited, and we're doing as much we can to help promote the show. But once again, Jerry, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great evening, and we will see you on Thursday evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, guys. See you Thursday.
Thanks, Jerry.
Take care.
By the way,
Thanks,
the
Jerry.
weigh-in is open to the public.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
What's up, guys? Jub here. I'm sure you've heard my voice a lot throughout this podcast. But if you made it this far, go check out some of our other stuff. Come on. We got a bunch of stuff. We got stuff all over the internet. We got videos. We got audio. We got store stuff. Go get something in the store. Go get some good stuff for the summer. It's all good stuff. I mean, you're not wasting your money. It's going to be sweet. Wear some cool swim trunks, some flip-flops. The summer's not over yet. You got like 2 months left. So go get some good stuff. Slap it on, and then go out and rock it in front of all your friends or family, and they'll ask about what the Pine Room is, and you tell them. You say, I'm a loyal fan of the podcast. Here are my rockin' flip-flops and my fanny pack. So go check out the store, go check out our other stuff, and enjoy the rest of this podcast. You're listening to the Pine Room Podcast. For them to put that together, orchestrate that, I would do the same thing. Like, I would run right up to that car and try to help. Well, maybe I wouldn't.
See, yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I'll.
Like, this sounds really messed up for me to say, but it's pretty smart. Like, it's a clever idea for, like, so. When he was saying that, I was like, oh, she's the one that was getting thrown into the car, not that she's going to go help them and both of them are going to flip and take her into the car. That's a hell of a strategy.
I've seen a similar thing on an SVU episode one time where literally a guy and a girl are faking, and then they're trying to get girls to come or anybody to human traffic them. And, yeah, it's criminals are getting smarter. And, yeah, it's scary. But I think I mentioned this one time before about not
we have talked
stopping
about this a little bit.
For people broke down the road. I want to help somebody, but I can't take the chance.
I mean, you see like a little old man thumbing on the side of the road, and you think, well, I could stop him, but then he couldn't pull a knife out and stab him in the throat.
They had a scheme going right on over at one of the parlors. I'm not going to say the name, but here in Wheeling, there was like an older lady that was like in the gambling parlors and saying like, I lost all my money. Like, I need bus fare home and blah, blah. And, like, can you help me to the bus stop, a young lady or a young man? And then they go outside and darkens, and people jump the person who was helping her out, and she's in on it.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, it's like, even though you want to open your heart up, people are horrible right now.
Leveraging babies, leveraging the elderly. I mean, honestly, that is so true. But it's so sad, though, because back in the day, you would have never thought about this. You would have seen somebody in any kind of harm, you hands down would have run to that situation. But nowadays, and it's not even so much anymore, it is everything what you just got done saying. But, anymore, people don't stop when, people are getting beat up. It's not the back in the day, okay, oh, fuck, that dude's had enough. They beat you to fucking,
to your brain dead.
Yeah. Do you think it's happening more now, or do you just think we're more aware of it?
Cooley, I was going to ask the same thing.
Actually, I think, in my personal opinion, I think people are way bigger dicks nowadays.
No
that
question.
Do not have the common respect, does not respect our fellow man. So I think hands down, and I agree. I know where you're coming from. Like, was it just because we have internet now and all that stuff?
I think that
people are dicks.
I'd say probably a mixture of both, because I think definitely with social media, you're exposed to way more of it than otherwise.
But the younger, and you guys excluded, of course. But you guys know, like there's a lot of younger type people who just have no manners, no sense of decency at all. There's a lot of bad people in there. You know what? It's really not even their fault either. It's either their homes they come from or just I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I agree with Jeff. I mean, it seems like people today are just not quite as nice and warm as they once were. And you could still have like the difference in our generations of like if people would fight. Like we both, I'm sure know, and I was never a fighter, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. But even if you were around some people that would fight, there was like a code. Like, okay, you fight, and then there was a level of respect once it was done.
So true.
And now it's not like all the other guys, his side of friends, jump in on somebody and just beat him like till his brain dead. Like you just wouldn't have seen that years back.
All right, I know how you're gonna answer this, Matt, but just humor this question. So say, we talked about aliens a couple weeks ago, and just say they came out with, like, they said, hey, there are aliens, they exist, and then a couple weeks later, humanity was put on trial by whatever aliens we found. And this question is, how would you defend humanity and argue for its continued existence?
Well, You want me to answer?
I know you're.
Well, my answer is I would have to plead the fifth for humanity because it would incriminate us. Anything we said, we don't even really deserve to be here as a civilization. I truly believe that now, and I cannot believe that God or whatever power you believe in has not destroyed this earth again. Like, I'm serious. I don't see a whole lot of good in our world right now. I hate to say that, but I guess there is still glimmers, but. I don't know. It would not surprise me if we were eradicated from the earth tomorrow, and I don't think that we could say, "Oh, that wasn't fair."
I think that's a very fair
I think
statement.
I don't really know I don't know how else you would really say it. I don't know what argument I would have really. I don't like Morgan Freeman maybe.
What would
Get in
he
his
do?
voice.
Yeah,
get in
he's
his
just a
voice
good
little bit.
dude.
Yeah.
Just a good dude.
Yeah.
I would say outside of wars and politics, and which is like a part of the
Like
human
80% of
Yeah.
society.
I would say that the human resolve is like no other. Now,
I think I agree that it used to be, but I also feel like that resolve isn't here anymore. You have people just whimpering in the corner because of whatever, and I get it. Mental health, okay. People have bad things in their lives, okay. I feel like perseverance is a word that everybody should learn how to spell, and everybody should learn how to actually project. But we don't have that anymore. I mean, I just don't see it. Like, if you have a bad day, kids quit, and then it's like I never was allowed to quit a sport. And I'm glad my parents wouldn't let me, even if it was like, you know what, I'm not really into this, even if I was good at it. It's like, no, you finish it out with your team. I just feel like today's world, everybody just goes and just
Fucking
quits.
soft, Matt
They
Watson.
are, and
soft.
I don't want to be a jerk about it and
No,
act like I'm
just
some
facts.
tough guy because I wasn't. But
Just facts.
it's just I don't see that perseverance in the resolve. That I agree. We once had that. I feel like.
I think get what?
I would just say, Cools, remember that time we almost quit that summer ball team?
Oh yeah. I mean, we won't.
Well, if it
that
wasn't
was
a
a-
serious thing, I mean, if it was like a jerk off fest,
I mean,
then
it was
okay.
it was a jerk off.
Okay,
fest.
well,
I
then,
mean,
but I'm saying like
no,
organized,
I know what you
know what I
mean, but it
mean?
just made me think of it. And me and Cooley,
That
the
league
whole
was fucking
the whole
horrible.
summer, we're like, we're fucking quitting this.
Horrible.
We're just gonna go work out.
Well, I mean, if
every
it's
day
like a beard league
and
thing.
you know who
Damn,
who
yeah.
kept us in it the whole time?
Old boy soup.
Yep.
I was gonna literally bring him up. I was gonna say he is a.
Now he's the kind of kid I will say, and you guys too, but like that kid gives me some hope. The soup. He's so damn positive, and
He
his
is.
work ethic is tremendous.
Beyond
and
anybody.
honestly, we need more kids like him out there, and spread the soup.
That's what I was gonna say.
Spread the soup.
He
That's a
he
great idea.
is what when I say that he is kind of what I think if put in the situation where we did. This is why I would love Aliens to be real, because I think if you put the human race in that scenario where all war and all whatever political stance you have is thrown out the window
You
because
think it
it
brings out
doesn't
the best
matter
still?
anymore. I think the human resolve would be just unparalleled.
we would see resolve that we didn't know was there.
Yes,
still.
because
okay, I can
because then
see
it's
that.
like it doesn't matter if I'm
I might fight on the alien side.
it wouldn't matter if you're an American or from North Korea. You're now the human race, and you'd come together. Now, obviously, that the chance of anybody coming together would probably be slim to none. But there's a great movie called Arrival. Have you seen this movie?
I've heard about it.
I think Spencer
Oh,
likes
yeah.
it a lot.
Loves it.
I
So
haven't watched it yet, but I heard
it's a
it's
great
good.
movie, and I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, but basically the theme of the movie is
Aren't they trying to communicate with each other, like figure out the
yeah,
language?
the aliens and the humans are trying to figure out what each other's language is, and this linguist who's like an academic professor,
That could be the key to
she
everything.
goes and talks to these aliens. She learns their language and yada yada yada, and basically the theme of the movie is the only way for the human race to exist is if everybody can become on the same playing field across the globe. So like everybody has to. I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah, then I
Shit.
probably wouldn't because
Well,
actually.
then-
I won't spoil the movie. Anyway,
well,
Just
I
go
think
watch it.
I think 9/11 is a great example.
Yeah,
I really do. I
definitely.
think-
I mean, I don't remember it, but
Yeah, I do. I think at the end of the day, we did become one, and it was
Yep.
very patriotic. The only problem with all that stuff, it's no different than, and we've talked about this before. It's just too short lived. And then the fact of the matter,
doubt,
like I
Jeff.
always had equated it to like death. It's kind of a pretty piss poor example, but everybody, when you're going through just a new trying time, when somebody passes in your family or somebody that's very close to you, a group of people all come together that maybe weren't as close at some point in time for the common good. But then eventually it's just like everything else. It kind of dissipates and everybody goes back to their status quo, gets caught up in their normal day to day, and they forget what it was like to come together as that group. And here's the deal. I'm fucking just as guilty as fucking anybody with this statement, but it is, I guess, the cool and the bad. The cool, when shit hits the fan, fucking, I do think that we could come together as humanity, but unfortunately it's just very short-lived.
Being that 9/11 was so long ago, we haven't had a catastrophic thing like that, thank God, knock on wood. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I don't know how we would react if we would be quite the same if it happened today. But I also think that teaches how important history is and showing that, never forget. They have those slogans about 9/11. And the more time goes on, people don't forget. And then we don't start teaching in schools because we're afraid to upset the Muslim community. And it's not all of them were involved in that. It's silly to think that. But you got to be able to teach it and show that, young people deserve to know what I felt like and what he felt like. And you guys were all pretty young that time. But that was that was one of the most, changing, life-changing days of my life. And it wasn't like I did anything. Maybe I didn't know it, but that was a very traumatizing experience.
I think we've talked about this before on here. Where were you?
I was at school.
I think I remember you saying this.
Yeah, I think we did talk about this.
Yeah, I went to class right before one plane hit, and then went to class. We had it on, and by the time I got back over to ASRC, I talked to my dad and said, "Did you see this plane hit?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then another one hit, and I was like, "Well." So yeah, it was very chilling to think about, because when it first hit, it's like, oh, it was an accident. Didn't even think twice, really. And
I was working at the hospital at that time, and I worked with two actually one that was a retired fireman, and then I worked with a volunteer, just both very, very knowledgeable dudes. And they, as everything was going on, they both said these buildings are going to collapse.
Yep.
And I never even thought about that, if you want to know the truth.
No, we wouldn't have known anything.
And I'll tell you what, literally minutes later, these buildings are collapsing. Yeah. And I tell you what, they were going around the hospital at that time because it's probably crazy how mass communication probably went out when the country, but they were getting people to sign up to go to New York, medical workers to go to New York at that
probably
time.
Start blood drives and stuff 100%, too, because that was a huge thing.
It was crazy. It really was. And I was young enough at that time, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I was fucking too much of a vagina to do the military and stuff like that. But I thought that would be one way that you could hopefully, as a young man, could serve. But I'm looking back on it, I'm glad it never came to fruition, because those poor fuckers, man, literally, they're all... most of those people that were 9/11 at the end of math, they're on disabilities, have breathing problems, cardiac problems. I mean, it's a shit show. So God bless them.
Matt, you know who brought the country together after that?
Yeah, George Bush when he threw the pitch and then the home run.
Mike Piazza. I was going to say Mike Piazza.
Yeah,
that's what we need. Maybe we need another Mike Piazza in the world to hit a home run.
It's crazy.
Hey, this is completely, absolutely other side of the spectrum, and you guys probably don't know this. But have you guys, Cooley, you probably have seen it. Have you guys seen this guy, Oliver Anthony? He's a country singer that overnight, he's from Virginia. I think he's right near, I guess, the border of West Virginia. He posted a song online. It's got 12 million views.
Is he the redhead?
Yes, it's absolutely blown up over this song. The song's called "Rich Men North of Richmond." So basically talking about politicians and how he kind of like the common man. This song, I've never seen anything like this. How this is blown up. #1 song on iTunes, and it's just this farmer from Virginia that posted this song. Absolutely amazing. Really, really good song. He's it's such a crazy thing.
Is
I wish
it
I could
tell
play
a story?
Yes, tells a story basically about how he's like a common man and how he's taxed, how he's taxed, and the government has kind of.
I'm glad you brought that up. You use the term common man. Do you guys ever think so? Everybody talks about. And I know it's not cookie cutter, but how corrupt government is, how corrupt politicians are. We shouldn't have lifelong politicians, blah blah blah. Do you guys agree or disagree that I think obviously if we would a common man would ever be able to win the presidency, #1, And would we ever be able to quote unquote dethrone the government, and not even in a civil war type of way, but more the fact around that the general public, like, we all bitch about it, we all still go to the polls and vote for the same fucking people over and over again, nothing changes. Do you guys ever foresee like the common man being able to run a important position?
No, because I think that the two main parties are just too. There's too much. There's too much. I think. Well, if you're saying like, are you running as a Republican or a Democrat, or are you running as like I'm just my own guy?
I think more that, and obviously independents are tough because and obviously in our state the primary can't do that, so it hurts the cause.
Yeah.
But
that's always been my thing. I've said this since I was in like elementary school. I was like, why can no one ever just be somebody that is, because I genuinely think that I am the most even-keeled guy, like even on both sides. I don't, because I don't like talking politics, but I don't think I'm sided one way or the other. Why can't there be a person that is just like that? Like, why can't everybody just be like, okay,
It's
this
always
guy
gotta be split up.
why is it always split?
Because they say that a lot have great intentions going in, and unfortunately the system corrupts you, or the fact of the matter, money corrupts you, and the fact of the matter, then people start getting in your head and in your back pocket to construe you one way. And I can see how it happens, but unfortunately it would be super cool though, I guess. And I know it's rainbows and
politics
butterflies.
Is set up for the two-party system and for both sides to get rich. It's almost like WWE. It's if you pay attention to this stuff, like these lawmakers will yell at each other on TV. They'll call each other out by names. They'll vilify themselves, and then they go out to dinner with each other in the evening.
That's amazing.
They're fooling people, and the same fat cats have been getting rich there for years and years and years. Term limits would help it, but money is the driving force. And like you say, you get a cause behind you that you believe in. It's hard to taper those beliefs, and then you're dragging another sect of the people. So like Jub said, even though you're like moderate in certain things, like it's hard for you to come off your values if you have like one thing that you're super.
And I think even if you are that like that average Joe, the minute you step into political office, there's going to be somebody that hates you, and then you're immediately the bad guy. Like you're by one group or the other, you're the bad guy.
And I know a lot of people would say I'm an idiot for saying this, but I think that Donald Trump had a lot of connections to the regular man. I feel like he did an incredible job, but he was a billionaire, so it's hard to the side that hates him is never going to give him that credit. And yeah, he would say crazy things that people would deem crazy. I didn't necessarily think that, but I thought his connection to common people was incredibly good, and meaning from a political outsider point of view. So I think it is possible to get somebody who's outside of the regular, I've been a politician for 30 years kind of thing, which is just horrible. Those are the last people you want. But I do think we're ready for a woman, and I think that both parties have messed up badly, Republicans most obviously, for not finding the female candidate to go with, because everyone says the Republican Party is the party of anti-woman, anti-race, They got some great minority candidates and some great women, and they don't utilize them correctly, and they're stupid. And I would love to vote for a woman who I believed in. You know what I mean?
I've never. I don't think I've ever hated a politician. Like, well, I take that back. But I don't know if I would take that back, because I really don't know that I've like hated somebody because of their whatever they are. Like, to me, I would love to sit in a room and talk to any of those people, because I think
I would too.
I genuinely think that people that are in that position do want the best for whatever office or whatever. I genuinely believe that, and I think people hate for certain policies or whatever. But I like for both Trump and Joe Biden, I would love to have them both in here and talk to both of them. I think because I think they both would be. Now Trump, he's a bit of a fiery guy, so that'd be intimidating to talk to him. But like, just because he's already a celebrity, so that'd freak me out. But like, I just think like any of those guys, I would like to sit down and talk to them.
I agree
100%.
But I think I don't think they're as horrible as as people make them out to be.
I think Jeff made a great point about starting out with the right intentions.
Yeah.
And that part, I don't disagree with you. I think a lot of them do. But if you ever seen people like Nancy Pelosi, I'm not sure she has a soul left. She may have gone into it for the right reasons. She's horrible. She's a very nasty person on camera. But I'd love to sit down with her, too, and talk to her and see if she's really like that or it's just a show. Maybe she's like Big Dick Booty Daddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
that.
I can't imagine how grueling that entire, like, from the minute you start, you decide you want to be a politician all the way up to wherever you get. I can't imagine how the toll that would take on your mental health, your body, how just miserable you would be. Like, every day you got something else that you got to worry about, people bitching at you, something that I never.
Sounds like hell.
Yeah, I genuinely empathize with people in political office. Now, obviously, if you're a corrupt shithole that wants to take money and do things for nefarious reasons. But I do think a majority of the people are good people that are just pitted against each other because of
you don't think any president went in there with some ill intention?
I mean, if you want to be the president, you have to be committed to be doing that position, and it's like. And for a majority, I would say that any president that goes into that office, just like the Queen of England, it has a lot of people pulling strings behind them. Like I would say that it's not once whoever gets in there, this could be our conspiracy theory show, the briefing room coming soon to the Pine Room Studios.
Little plug.
I think that
you just think they're like a puppet.
Not necessarily a puppet, but I think there's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes. I think there's a lot of
well, government's set up that way. It's not just supposed to be the president.
Yeah. Hey, what
checks and balances?
I think. Go ahead, Jarrett.
This is a really, really dumb question before we wrap up. But speaking of puppets and shit like that, whatever happened to Mitch McConnell when he froze? What the fuck happened?
I think
that was scary.
Did you see that? That was the craziest thing ever.
He's a perfect example.
He's a spineless cunt.
I can't stand him. He's
fucking
and
spineless.
I probably align with Republicans far more than Democrats, but I don't like
spineless.
Mitch McConnell at all. I think he's what's wrong with politics.
He
he's
ran
been
out
around
of
forever.
batteries.
Didn't they say he had a seizure or something?
Yeah, he had a seizure or stroke
he was
or
just
something.
all of that.
They just stopped.
He ran out of batteries.
Yeah, that's a perfect time. See you, Mitch. It's over for you. And Biden's going to have the same thing before too long.
That is
falls
the thing,
down every
day. I don't think Sleepy Joe is all. I think he would be a decent talk to.
He'd be a talk to, all right.
I
He'd be groping every girl around Wheeling. I mean, he doesn't. He's probably fun.
I did see he said something in a speech or something. He said, we are America, we are the finish line, and if you think you're gonna something, it was actually pretty cool. And there was a comment that said, "It's all fun and games till Sleepy Joe wakes up." So to me, I think there's. I just think there's a good side to everybody.
What about Hitler?
I can't.
What the hell?
He was gonna try to
You're
rationalize.
gonna try to say that.
But I would say there was probably a point before,
How did you get that many people to follow you?
Yeah, I would say before there's a
compelling.
threshold, and once you go past the threshold, you're just a piece of shit who should probably be buried further than the core of the earth. But there's probably a time where he was not a bad guy. There's probably a time.
Got kicked out of art school.
Yeah, there's probably a time where he was an
Or he
okay
didn't get
guy.
accepted into
And
art
did
school.
did he go into it for the right reasons?
I mean,
did he go
might
in
have-
trying to help his
But
country?
no, he's a piece of shit now. I hope he's fucking burning 80
I would like
layers
for
below the
somebody
earth.
to look it up, and I know that there's no way this will ever happen, but I would love to see the people that are in prominent political positions, their net worth when they started,
exactly.
and when their net worth at their end, and to see if there was anybody that did not benefit financially from going into some sort of. Because I just don't think it's possible.
I don't either.
I don't think so.
I would say no.
Yeah.
Not with the lobbyists and the people on Capitol Hill. It's like one of the top industries in the world next to human trafficking and drugs.
So to me,
and pharmaceuticals.
I think that throws up red flags. I mean, at the end of the day,
Definitely.
that's pretty black and white, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that if you were quote unquote, it's no different nowadays, and I'm not going to get on the Catholic Church thing, but quote unquote, I mean, if you get into priesthood, nunnery, whatever the case may be, you're supposed to vow to poverty. So
they live too good now, man.
they live way too good now. But our politicians, I'm not saying they vow to poverty, but they shouldn't become millionaires.
They're supposed to be
overnight either.
civil servants. That's what they're sitting there
That's
saying.
what they're-
And
yeah.
the president's salary at one point was very modest.
It was like 365.
Yes.
It was like 1,000.
But now with endorsements and things like that, it's outrageous.
Hey, Cools, what do you think of nuns?
Oh God. Boring.
Because my mom told me a story about how the nuns and the people that worked at Bishop Donahue when she went to school back in the early.
Don't say it.
I don't want to age mom,
Yeah,
but
don't say it.
back in the day, when Bishop Donahue was like popping, those nuns
They're
and
nuts.
the dudes that ran that school were pieces of shit.
Oh,
And I'm telling you right now, if my mom, if we're ever out and I see a dude that hit my mom, it's
Was he a priest or was he
I think
administrator?
I
of
don't
some kind?
know.
Wait, aren't nuns all they're girls, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there
nuns
were
are.
what's the opposite of a nun?
Like a brother,
Brother,
but-
yeah, like those guys.
A lot
that
of
ran
times the
school.
schools were set up where the priest or the bishop of the area was the school administrator, and the nuns were the teachers. And you can watch them. There's some horrible
Nasty
stuff that's gone on. There was a situation in Baltimore. That I watched a documentary on a while ago. A lot of this happened a lot. Like it was, and a lot of times on the Native American reserves. If you look into some of that stuff, it is terrifying what they made those poor Native American girls and boys go through. Those nuns were awful.
Now
they think they're doing God's work right there.
And I think I think some of them are thinking they're doing the right thing, and some of them just like to be fucking.
But do you think that's a lack of education? Do you think that's like a lack of awareness? I mean, are you that strong in your beliefs that you have to beat somebody to comply? Like that is, you don't think like that should ever be okay.
I can't remember what my mom was saying, but she was saying maybe she was late. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. She was late to a class, and the teacher or the whoever the guy was took her into a room with her and another girl and said, "You can either do something or we hit you with a
ruler."
Yeah,
I think it was a paddle or something like that. It
Didn't
was
they
like
used to hit your
paddle.
fingers with
You get
would.
paddled.
We did, honestly. Like,
Did
all
they
this
hit
stuff,
when you were going?
One of my best buddies in 3rd grade literally went home with welts on his back from a
I think
ruler.
but like why is beating
deserved it.
anybody? Okay, well
He deserved it.
and
And
why-
I'm gonna be honest. You know what? Actually, and I'm gonna talk out of both sides. You're not wrong, because the problem is the balance of overboard.
Right.
yeah.
And I do think at the end of the day, like there is still so many things that is instilled in me, and we're not going to get on the public versus Catholic school shit because I think it's all irrelevant now if you want to know the truth.
Yeah.
But there's things that was instilled in me in Catholic grade school that I still live by to this day.
Me too.
Great
Me
examples. When a ambulance or a fire truck goes by, not that I'm sitting there because I'm the furthest thing from a holy roller, but I'm thinking about that person in that ambulance because that was instilled in me when I was somebody up in front of the room talking, you shut the fuck up, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's just so many things. So I think the balance was the problem, but I think the discipline and the structure, that is truly, once again, what I think we're missing in our society now, that I think that that would help.
And I'm not saying that like all of this that like the Catholic school or
But a lot of it was
corrupt.
bullshit.
And I'm not
Fucking most
saying
of
It went
was.
over the line.
And
It went over the line.
100%.
But what I'm
Abuse-
saying
abuse
is,
of power.
I think no matter what the circumstances, now if a kid, even then, I still don't think corporal punishment like violence is like my dad never hit me, but I was terrified of him. Like I didn't cuss, I didn't drink, I didn't.
Did you guys you didn't get your butt smacked at all?
Never.
No, I've never
Not
been hit
once.
either.
Really?
No.
Did you get your butt
But
smacked?
I-
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, I got 100%.
Fuck yeah.
I got slapped across my face
And I'm
once,
glad.
and I
I'm
deserved
glad.
that.
Yep,
I hands
me
down
too.
fucking only
Yep.
one time, but I was fucking hands down deserved it.
But I'll tell you, I never when I was a kid, it was his way or the highway. Like we never stepped out of line. Like he told us this was it, if this was going to happen, and we never got hit. And to me, I mean,
we never got hit.
yeah, maybe I do, maybe I'm just blocking it out.
Some drama.
All right, before we wrap up, we're going to do the hypothetical here, and I'm going to give you some options. We have the best friend's wedding. This is like a scenario hypothetical.
Yeah, skip.
A best friend's wedding, Robin Hood, a sinking sensation, accidental Samaritan, or a day at the beach.
I say Robin Hood.
Best friend's wedding.
Or accidental
was-
Best
Samaritan.
friend's wedding,
I was gonna say sinking sensation. That
sinking
sounds interesting.
sensation.
I said Robin Hood.
I'll do
Robin
whatever.
Hood.
I'll whatever you guys want.
Pick one.
I can go sinking sensation too.
All right,
Robin.
sinking sensation.
That sounds interesting.
Okay, here we go. This is from BuzzFeed, so go check out BuzzFeed. You've been on a cruise for 2 days when there's an accident that forces everyone on board to abandon ship. During the evacuation, one of the boats is damaged, leaving it with a hole that fills with water. You figure that 10 people in the boat, that can you can figure that with 10 people in the boat, you can keep the boat afloat by having 9 people scoop the filling water out by hand 10 minutes while the 10th person rests. So if 9 people scoop out this water with their hands, 1 person can rest, and that means you can stay afloat for 5 hours. After the 10th person has a 10-minute rest, he or she will get back to work while another person rests. So it rotates.
Yep.
This should keep the boat from sinking long enough for a rescue team to find you, as long as it happens within 5 hours. So if you keep this for 5 hours, and that's the length of how long this would take, you're taking your first break when you notice your best friend in a sound lifeboat, a healthy lifeboat, with only 9 people in it, and he beckons you to swim over and join them so you don't have to keep bailing water. If you leave the people in the sinking boat, they will only be able to stay afloat for 2 hours instead of the 5, decreasing their chance of being rescued, but securing your rescue. What do you do?
Wait, so if they make it to 5 hours, they're guaranteed?
They're good.
Do they know that?
Yes, you know that if you stay in this boat and you help them bail water.
Yeah.
I'm staying.
Why
I'm
wouldn't I?
staying.
If I know that I'm going to be saved, everybody would be saved in those 5 hours. I would definitely stay.
All right, so to do the turn cut, what about if you don't know?
If I don't know, I'm out.
We'll say yeah. You don't know.
Then
You
I'm
definitely don't know.
100% out.
And
But you know it's keeping you afloat.
Fuck, I mean,
I'm-
why wouldn't
It says
I?
it just says you figure that with 10 people in the boat, you can keep
that's
the boat.
not definitive.
It says you can keep the boat afloat by having 9 people scoop the filling water out by hand for 10 minutes while the 10th person rests. So you figure that you can keep the boat.
I got a couple problems. One is I know myself, and if I'm in this spot, I'm staying on that boat with the people. But I also know what we were talking about, our society. Do I have 9 other people in that boat that are not going to quit?
Same thing.
That's what I
Because
was gonna say.
that worries me. And then I know that, you know what, I'm not going to end up taking a break because I'm going to try to save as many people, myself included, as I possibly can. And then the other part of it is, if I would never abandon people that needed help just to go the safer route. And you know what happened? If I did do that, I would deserve to get eaten by a shark on my way to that other boat.
100%.
So no, the other people around me would worry me in that situation. I agree with
that.
probably scoop water till my arms fell off.
If it was all the Pine Room guys, I'm staying.
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
right.
If it's
Who's
not
going to be the
me,
first
no.
guy to succumb? Nick? Sorry, Nick.
You jump, I jump, right, Jub?
Yeah.
There we go. Now,
Hey, there we go.
you know what? At the end of the day, I agree with Matt. It's so I mean, if it's the group of people you know, it's without a doubt, it's a no-brainer. I agree. Hopefully, you're having some drinks with those people, so you got to know them a little bit. And it makes it a little bit easier. But I would hope that my humanity, because I don't know if I could go home and lay my head down on the pillow at night to know that I've killed, that I let 9 people down and they died and I'm still living.
How could you live with that?
That'd be.
But if you don't know that they're going to be rescued in 5 hours, you don't know that you let them. Like, you
And I
didn't
get
let
that.
them die. And plus, if I get on the boat, I
Yeah,
can
but it's
call
like-
some help.
It's
Plus,
like this is
anything.
working right now. Like we're keeping the boat
just
afloat. We don't
floating
know
in
how
the-
long we can keep it going, but it's floating.
What happens if my friend's waving me over and then 3 other people are jumping out ahead of me? Like, I mean, and then that boat's
Someone's
going
just
down
gonna
real
take
quick.
my spot if I don't.
And
go
then I
take
don't
it.
make it over there, and then we only got 6 back in the boat I get in. It's all over.
Then we're fucked.
No.
For sure.
All right, so that's that. So
So
we're,
what about you?
I'm gonna stay with the people. I mean, I'm worried that people are gonna bail before me, but like I couldn't go home after that and be like, I bailed on those people and 10 people died or 9 people died just because I knew for sure I was going to be safe.
Last thing, real quick. Would any into play? Would it matter if where you were at in life?
Like
we
right
talk-
now,
like we talked about, like the 7-year-old.
Yeah, I mean,
Would it
Yeah,
matter?
with the wheelchair?
Like
if
I've
I'm
always
80.
listening to that on the tractor the other night, and I was started laughing my balls off. I think that a little bit that would have to go into play too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just scared of drowning. I do not.
well, I
wanna
think
be-
we all are.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that sounds
Well,
so.
after watching
Oh
Deepest
my
Breath,
God,
I'll
Matt.
tell you
That
that
shit's fucking
drowning has a whole
ridiculous.
other thought process to me.
I don't.
If you guys want to watch something incredibly intense, you should watch the
I think my
Deepest Breath.
mom watched it. I
What'd
think
she
she
think?
watched.
I know.
What's it
I think
called?
she got about
Cruise.
It's on
halfway through.
Netflix.
Okay.
we were on
It
a
is
cruise. when that
incredibly.
happened.
Yeah, you're on a cruise.
So what's 9 more people compared to the rest of the thousands? That like,
Well, that's all right.
They all exploded and died.
All right, let's do a quick one because I think we've talked about this before. I think we've mentioned this, and I think I know your answer. So this is the best friend's wedding. It says you're at the best friend's wedding an hour before the ceremony is to start. Earlier in that day, you came across definitive proof that your best friend's spouse to be. So for example, I won't use that. If Cooley was getting married, and you were walking in the back, and you see his wife,
Some guy's balls deep in her. Is what
Oh,
I would
no.
say.
having an affair with his best man, so probably Jarrett. And you catch them sneaking out of a room together looking disheveled. If you tell your friend about the affair, their day will be ruined, but you don't want whoever it is to marry a cheater. What do you do?
I think this is a situation, and we have talked about this. Jared,
Yeah.
go first.
I object.
Go ahead, Matt.
You better tell me.
This is too-
Yeah,
This
okay,
is-
we'll do that.
this is
what
too
would
cliched.
What would you want if you were the guy getting married?
Tell
what
me.
would you
Oh,
want?
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm going to give two
Yeah.
answers real quick. Hands down, want to know, but I think it's very individualized. If I know Tyler is hands down, head over heels, and no matter what I'm going to tell him, there's nothing that I could sell him against his bride to be.
Right.
Then all I'm going to be, I'm going to lose a relationship because then he thinks just because I don't think they're perfect, then he's going to tell me go fuck myself. So I'm keeping my mouth
would
shut.
never do
But
that.
here's the deal: if there was question going in, we just had
Like he was
beers
uncertain.
beers the night before, blah blah this and that. And he's still the man. I just don't sure. Then hands down, I would be
Yeah.
letting him know.
I think if she was fucking a dude on her wedding day,
That's
I think
crazy.
she was probably a whore all the long.
Right?
And,
So
and
he
then,
knows.
and then I think that, you come across guys like this who are in denial, like their
Oh.
girlfriend's
Yeah.
fucking
The
around
best
on them
man
all the
was
time.
hooking up with her.
Which is another problem.
Well, you
You
gotta
gotta
tell him, and then you probably beat the shit out of him if you can, and then would
See,
like to beat her up if you could, but you're
that-
not allowed.
What would be horrible to me is if you had a great wedding, it went awesome, no one didn't tell you, and then you found out later
You'd
down
be the
line.
hero for telling. I think
Because then if you learned later
you
down
can't
the
ruin
line,
someone's life. You're talking about ruining one day. I've had my days ruined all the time. You ever try to gamble and you'll ruin your day real fast.
Can you? But if you were, if you just learned that 2 years later, it was the best wedding like that anybody'd ever been to. It's tainted for
The
the
whole
rest.
point of a wedding is unity between
yeah.
man and woman who love each other and is not supposed to be.
All right, Cooley. So what are you doing?
Oh, I'm probably not allowed to
Oh,
say
I
that.
know
You
you're
probably had to
thinking
edit
about
that
that.
out, probably.
You know what
That's
I'm
not
I'm telling
anymore,
you
Matt.
Immediately.
immediately.
Yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Because
different.
we gotta think your best man's probably gonna be Jarrett. If your brother's hooking up,
I'm
with your
videoing.
wife,
That just throw
No,
a
that's
curveball into
different.
it. Twin brothers fucking the.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah, you know
That'd
that's
be
happened
some
before.
shit.
I guarantee you
100%.
that
Oh,
happened.
not a doubt.
Even with the twin
I'd have
bond.
to move away.
Even with the twin bond.
I think it would
See,
be.
it's like Cleopatra. These women are deceptive and they're venomous.
I guess that's another thing. Would you be more, obviously you'd probably be more upset with your spouse, but would you carry more of disdain for
They'd
your
both-
best man?
they'd both just be cut. I'd never speak to
Because
them.
whoever's the best person in
That's
your
a
wedding
really good question.
is the person that you've spent your life with as best friends. So like I don't know who I would be more mad at. I think I'd definitely be more mad at him.
Well, that's brotherly love.
Yeah.
So
I would
don't
too,
know,
because
man.
you'd like to think that your brother has your back.
But
when your-
even all right,
when
so-
your would-be wife is trying to be a whore, your brother's got your
Yeah.
back that he won't let her
Disclaimer: I would never do this.
I know.
be. Now, which one of you is more likely to fuck the other guy's
Oh,
fiance?
yeah.
Hey.
100%.
But
Jeez, that's
like
man.
even if it was like Cooley, I still feel like I would be more mad at him than I would at her because like we've been friends longer than we
Yeah.
probably
No,
have
I
been
agree with
together.
that. I agree.
I
with
agree.
that.
I don't
if
know.
it was a stranger dude, I'm not mad.
Yeah,
at the dude,
definitely.
But if it's your best friend, yeah.
I'd video it, post it on social, and then let somebody react to it while the wedding was going on.
All right,
Actually,
so
okay,
all right, we'll wrap it up because we're going long.
I get that. So would a stranger, from what you just got done saying, you wouldn't be bummed at a stranger either? Because I wouldn't either.
I
'Cause
wouldn't
really,
be
it's not
mad
his
at-
Yeah.
fault.
I
It's
wouldn't
not
be
his
mad
fault.
at the stranger. I'd be mad at her.
Yeah.
Well, agree. No,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well, I
minus
gotta
the
agree.
wedding thing. Like, if by chance your girlfriend or wife cheats on you with some dude that you don't know, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
whatever.
All right, so telling.
50-50. I know that's not a good answer.
All right,
Absolutely.
100%.
100%. Got
then
to.
I would have to.
And if I
too.
didn't know the guy, I'd probably try to wrangle up a few other guys, kill him, sink it in the water, and then threaten her and say, if you ever do this again, we're going to cut your head off like ISIS. That probably wouldn't work. Anyway.
Well, there you go.
What an end.
Happy episode 71.
Yeah, right. Enjoy your marriage. Yeah.
Send us what you would do. We are the Pine Room Podcast here at the Pine Room Studios. Myself, Jeff, Matt, Jarrett, and Cools. Episode 71 on the books. Listen Friday. This is going to come out a day before our Friday radio show, so check that out now. I can announce that, so you're a day prior. Radio show Friday at Gumby's in Elm Grove. We're going to be doing a live show out on location. These guys are going to be at Elm Grove. I'm going to be at the studio. Listen to it. We're going to be talking high school football, high school sports, high school football, and then sports in general. It's going to be a sports show. We're going to have some of the fighters from the Rough and Rowdy on that show. So look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, we'll see you here in the Pine Room.
Peace.